Welcome everyone. So today we're going to talk about the great Mami Wata, the hidden goddess of this world. As you know, this world is a water world, right? This world is a water world, earth, water percentage. It says here, most of earth is salt water in oceans. About 97.2% of earth's surface water resides in the ocean. There are 5 oceans that surround continents. Okay? So we got 97% of the earth is covered by salt water. Okay? Basically, earth is a water planet. And that means the deity of earth would definitely have to be a water deity, correct? And so that's why she's called Mami Wata. Mami, basically, mother of water, you know. All right. So let's look at how the matriarchy start background recording. So sorry about that. So basically, we're going to look at how the Western world and the Middle East and the Eastern world came together and conspired to hide this goddess from the populace in each of the peripheries, that they govern, or you could say regions. All right. So what I did was to show proof of how they do their thing. So I put inside Google, right? When the world was matriarchy. Okay? Listen to what AI came up with. The theory of global prehistoric matriarchy proposes that human society was woman centered, matrilineal, and goddess worshipping from the pale, pale, paleo, Paleolithic era until roughly 3000 to 1000 BCE, right? Often described as the golden age of harmony. You hear what that says? We're gonna have to come back to this and cover this in another session, because if it's funny that they're gonna call it the golden age of harmony, that means it was an entire time of peace. Because now, if you notice, when we're in the current times of now, it's all chaotic. All right, let's keep going. It suggests women held power, honored for life giving abilities before a transition to patriarchy. That was now like men ruling everything, right? This concept is largely considered a modern speculative theory or cultural myth, as archaeological evidence for a widespread absolute female rule society is lacking. You hear that? So they're saying that because they haven't found archaeological evidence for a widespread absolute female rule society, they're saying it's all fake. It's ridiculous that they're saying that, right? But this is one of the designs that they use to help to um break down the belief system or the existence of the female goddess Mamiwata. All right, look at this. If I click on images, it's going to show, let me see what it shows. As you can see, basically, just generic pictures showing some Asian woman as if show a few Africans there. What's this? Some site with some stuff on it. All right. So that's just to show the evidence of how they don't take, they don't want you to take this thing serious, right? They say lack of evidence. Lack of evidence. It's nonsense. All right, let's go over. So this is from New York Times, right? This is what they say. The myth of matriarchal prehistory. The myth. They're saying, it's non-existent. Can't be proven. It's ridiculous. So let's see what this author had to say. Once upon a time, the many cultures of this world were all part of a gynocratic age. Hear what they say? Gynocratic age. Let's see what this means before we go on any further. Gynocratic age, right? The gynocratic age is largely speculative, theoretical, or mythical prehistorical era, often cited as occurring from roughly 2 million years ago until 3000 BC. So, you see, this is another thing. Time. What they've managed to do is, because they were able to take control of everything, of course, they could rewrite time to benefit them, right? You know what I mean? They would set everything up where it benefits them, and anything that doesn't benefits them, they just write it off like, oh, that was like 6,000 years ago, so it's like bananas right now. It's nothing. When actually it could have been way, way closer up. So that's another thing. We can't even believe what they're saying, even though they got it right here. Because that's the whole thing. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. So now we know what that means. And basically, as you can see, it says largely speculative. Because what they did was, is one or two things. It's either they destroyed all of the evidence of the goddess, burn all the books, kill all the people that know anything, which is what they did around the world. Or they took all the books and everything and they're hiding them underground in vaults, which they do to many artifacts presently. All right, so let's go back. Paternity had not yet been discovered, and it was thought that women bore fruits like trees when they were ripe. Childbirth was mysterious, it was vital, and it was envied. Women were worshipped because of it, while considered superior because of it. Men were on the periphery, an interchangeable body of workers for and worshippers of the female center, the principle of life. The discovery of paternity, of sexual cause and childbirth effect, was a cataclysmic was as cataclysmic for society as, say, the discovery of fire or the shattering of the atom. Gradually, the idea of male ownership of children took hold. Gynocracy also suffered from the periodic invasions of nomadic tribes. The conflict between the hunters and the growers was really the conflict between male dominated and female dominated cultures. Women gradually lost their freedom, mystery, and superior position. For 5,000 years or more, the gynocratic age had flowered in peace and productivity. Slowly, in varying stages and in different parts of the world, the social order was painfully reversed. Women became the underclass, marked by their visible difference. So, let me talk about the lie with this one. One thing they're not talking about is that the reason why women were held in high regard as leaders in society was because they naturally had power, like real supernatural power. Okay? Scientists. That's what they're not talking about here. They're just trying to make it sound as if it's just all about normal women being worshipped because they could have babies, and back then people thought it was magical. That's not what it's all about. The woman actually had a connection to Gaia. All right. What I'm trying to say is this right here. Where is it? Trying to find it. Right here. The concept of goddess matriarchy, temples, and saintess Sibyls, often centered on the reclaiming of African spiritual history, specifically focusing on West African Kashit and Nile Valley traditions that predate Western patriarchal systems. These traditions highlight black women as the original keepers of spiritual, oracular, and societal wisdom, bro. This is what they're trying to hide. Black women, the original keepers of spiritual, oracular, oracular, and societal wisdom. Basically, women were second to the goddess, bro. The saintists represented the goddess, represented Gaia, the water goddess. That's what they're trying to hide. And that's why they come up with all this stuff. Look, this right here, when they couldn't hide it no more, they chose to whitewash it. How they did that? With this. This is what they put symbols are. This is symbols. Look at the skin color. What do you see? White. Light, you know? The light race. See the light race. Sorry. Things that they couldn't get rid of. They just whitewash it. Things that were usable to them. They whitewashed it. Took it over. Took over Greece. Took over Italy. Killed everybody. Took over everything. Took over the culture. This is what they did. You know? Then they're gonna blame it on 3,500 years ago. It's all nonsense. This is a real issue right here. All right, I'll be back again. Look out for me. This was just my first post. I just created this channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you feel connected to what I'm talking about, please hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it. and I will be seeing you guys soon again. Thank you very much.